What direction slash position should the school face to keep the energy cost down? How is this determined?
Well, the school is going to be having windows on all the four sides, obviously. But if you keep most of the windows on the north side, it's better because the north is always going to have diffused light. That way the building won't get too hot or too cold. When it faces east or west, it's going to have continuous light from the east and west. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west, and it gets pretty hot. So in east and west, you should have some enclosed areas of the building, like an auditorium or a gym or any area which doesn't need a window. Whereas the library and the classrooms should possibly face north and south. That way you cut down your energy cost.
Okay. Number 2. What are the standard notations for floor and side plans?
Okay. At least from what I learned, the standard notations were whenever you want to draw a building, you have to choose your scale. It's very important what scale you choose. As you draw a site plan, when there's everything, you have to show the topographical, if there's a river flowing here, there are trees or jungles, and then the building, and if it's uneven, like undulating land, you have to show that too. And the building lines are just shown by the thickness of the walls. This thickness is again to the scale, okay? And if there's a window on this wall, you show it like this. You cut it off and you bring it out showing this is the window jamb. And the glass pane is here, and you have to write everything here. What kind of insulation do you have on the window? How thick is the glass and everything? And then within the rooms, if this is one of your rooms, obviously this wall, the outer walls have to be thicker than the inner walls, okay? Especially in US, I'm sure they'll be continuously, they can change. They can make this room this small, or tomorrow they can make it this big to make it an auditorium. And then when you want a door attached, in order to show a door to a room, you do it like this. This indicates that the door is swinging into the room. If you want the door swinging outwards, then obviously you show it like this. Like this. This is the room, and the door swings out here. This is the room, and the door swings in. This is a window. This is the thickness of the wall, and this thickness you can also show like how thick is the brick. And you can show columns in between, and you can say these are the concrete columns or stone columns or whatever, and then the facing on top of it to show whether it's plaster lining or stone or brick. You can show it in so many ways. And the trees are generally indicated like this, and you just cut it down like this. That's it. On a site plan, okay, where you just see the top view of the tree. These are all top view of the buildings. So these are called site plans. And usually if it's a table, you just show whatever is seen from the top. That's how you show it. If it's a kitchen counter, if it's a stove, you show like this. You show the 4 burners, and you show it like that. So depending on what you want to show, you have to just imagine it from the top. That's how you show. That's it. If it's a table over here, and the chairs are just shown like this, that's it. You don't show the legs underneath the table unless the legs are slanting out, then you show that. Otherwise the leg is in dotted lines underneath the table. That's how they show it in architecture.
Number 3. What is the best material to use to build schools?
Well, depending on which part of the school you're talking about, we're going to use different materials. If it's an auditorium, you have to use acoustically safe materials. That means you don't want the sound to escape, so it has to be soundproof. Whereas if you're using a gym, there's going to be a lot of sweat, and they want to keep the room cool there, so they're going to use heat insulation over there. And then in a library, you want lots of windows, but you don't want to lose your heat, and you don't want it to get too hot. So over there, even the glass has to be insulated over there. So depending on which part of the room, if it's a school, where the tuition is, where your classrooms are, that also has to be designed differently. So depending on which area it is, whether it's a cafeteria or what, the materials are going to differ.
Okay. What kind of landscaping do most schools have?
Generally, you should have like evergreen trees around the building so that it keeps it cool and you avoid a lot of heat coming in from the east and west side. There should be more trees. And the parking lots will probably be on the north and the south, because that way there'll be more trees encumbering them.
Well, number 5. What are some examples of the various kinds of views?
Okay, basically there are 4 or 5 kinds of views in architecture. The first one, like I said, is called the site plan or the site view, where you just see things from the top, but each and every detail. And then when you want to see the sides of the building, it's called the elevation. Every side of the building is called like north elevation or south elevation, and you show like this. This is your ground line. The trees are here, and you have to draw everything to the scale. And the building cannot be shorter than the tree, obviously. Depending on the height of the building. So this elevation will only show the north. So you show how big are the windows, the doors, anything around it. So you show accordingly. So these are called elevations, and each elevation is one side of the wall. And then you have your sectional views. Sectional view is called like when you cut through the building. You have to show every little detail. That's when you show the construction materials. Like if I cut through this window, what kind of wood did I use here? What kind of blinds are there? What is the thickness of the wall here? What is the flooring? So you show every little detail in a sectional view. You have to show the material of the foundation underneath, the ground, and then also the tiling that you used, the floor, the ceiling material that you have used, and everything, how thick this wall is, how thin these internal walls are, and basically it's like cutting through the wall and showing the material that you have used. So those are sectional views. And then when you want to sell your stuff to a client, the best thing is called the perspective view, where you show the building like where the lines are not running parallel, they start meeting, like you're viewing, and this is the building, and this line is eventually going to meet with the ground line. This is the ground line, and you show it like that. And there's another view called the bird's eye view. It's like viewing from the top, where you show the building and the trees and the landscape around it. So there are basically 3 to 4 kinds of views.